Thanks for checking out Unerring Gaming. If you have a second, please hit the subscribe button. It makes my day watching that number go up. Before I get into my boss list, I just want to discuss why there are no gods in the top 5 bosses. That's because the devs didn't make a god boss worth a top 5 spot. Before playing the game, I expected Thor and Odin to be probably the top 2 bosses. They are gods, Kratos is a god. I thought it would all lead to one of those guys for some big bad fight. I mean, the top 2 bosses on my list are not even gods of any kind. In fact, one is the backup queen, and the other is a dead spirit from the grave, and somehow they're both stronger than Thor and Odin, the gods overseeing all the realms. I just think they missed out on what made the original so good, and that's fighting and destroying gods. Anyways, my top 5 Ragnarok boss list looks like this. So at number 5, I have it as a tie between 2 different berserkers, the Bold and the Unerring. The Bold can summon NPC enemies into the fight, which makes it harder to focus on just him, and he also gives off poison damage, so he can be pretty rough. The Unerring gives off Bifrost damage, which is the most powerful element in the game, so basically you just have to avoid getting hit by the Bifrost and by the Berserker, so it can be kind of tough. I thought both of these took me a few tries, but as single Berserkers, I thought they were top 2. Number 4, I have the duo Berserkers called the Fierce and the Troublesome. The other names are too tough to say. So, it's already tough fighting one Berserker, but this fight gives you 2, and they kind of switch throughout the fight like a tag team. So, it was a little tough to manage. The one with like the fist weapons was dealing mad damage. I think the best way to deal with them is just learn both movesets of each one and be ready to fight them as they switch. And then sometimes they team up, so be ready for that. It's only tough because there is 2 of them, which is why the next one at number 3 was a little tougher because there is 3 Berserkers. So at number 3, I have the Berserker called the Cold, and then the 2 sisters of Ilska, which are like witches who shoot different kinds of elemental attacks at you the whole time. This fight is exhausting. I literally wanted to throw my controller like so many times. I was pretty pissed off during this one. Like, you can go for the sister witches who share a health bar, but the Berserker is like always on you trying to kill you, so it's tricky. You can try to take him out first, but then they're constantly throwing attacks at you, whether they're on camera or off camera. And half the time I feel like you're fighting the camera. And Freya doesn't do much when there's 3 of them. The witches are constantly throwing crap at you as the other one's trying to rip off your head. I feel like this boss could have easily been number 2 on the list. I thought they were just as tough as the King Berserker. I just thought the King Berserker was just better, like statted up as 1 Berserker as opposed to 3. So at number 2, I had Hrolf Kraki, the King Berserker. And much like the Queen Valkyries from the previous game, he has all the attacks of all the Berserkers. So he's pretty tough, but until you learn his moveset, and then you can anticipate things a lot better. But the relic you get from defeating him is one of the best in the game, and it just kind of sucks that you get it when the game's almost over, or when you've beaten basically most of the toughest bosses in the game. He has moves that can be difficult to take, but easy to learn to get around them. Everything about the King Berserker was just a little bit better than all the other Berserkers, so that's why he gets that number 2 spot. So coming in at number 1 is going to be Gna, or Jana, however you say it, the 2nd string Queen Valkyrie, but 2nd string or not, she's the toughest and baddest in the game. Her moveset covers a bunch of different attacks, from elemental to non-blockable to the sky attack where she yells, "For Asgard!" and then stomps on your face repeatedly. I swear that's the worst. That one stopped a few runs for me. But, you know, she was fun, but not really. But after finally taking her down, and, you know, it felt good, and she definitely takes the cake as the biggest and baddest in Ragnarok. And funny how in the previous game, the Queen Valkyrie was also the toughest boss in the game, so, you know, take that as you will. Even though Thor was really pressed on us from the moment the game was announced, and I thought that he was just going to be the toughest in the game, and I thought the fights with him were going to be just beyond epic, and instead, the gods were almost the weakest in the game. That's going to be it for me. I hope you liked the video. If you didn't hit the subscribe button, please do now. It really means a lot to me. And that, you know, as always, thanks for checking out Odin Gaming.